Okay, guys, so I want to talk about Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie and what's going on now. So, if you guys are not aware, Gabby Petito went missing, and she and her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, have been doing, blogs and discover new places and documented their journey. And Gabby Petito went missing, and Brian Laundrie became a suspect. And then Brian Laundrie, he went missing. He disappeared. Gabby Petito was found, and once found, basically was decided that it was a homicide. He became a person of interest, but never formally charged. But the authorities wanted to speak with him. His family denied knowing his whereabouts, and moving forward, he literally was found on an expedition, or a search when a search party was enacted, and he was found during that time period, or I should say his remains were found. So Gabby Petito's family, specifically her mom and her father, what they have now done is to file a civil suit against the Laundries, as in Brian Laundrie's parents. And there's a lot of talk about whether or not there's a basis for a civil suit in any form. The Petito family claims that a lot of the things that Brian did, his family was aware of. It was released that Gabby Petito died on August 27th. And on August 28th, Brian told his parents. Now, when authorities spoke to, his parents or whatever the case is, they really didn't have anything to say. They didn't offer up any information, this, that, and the third. They acted like innocent bystanders to facts and information. Like they just didn't know anything. That's the part that they played, right? And in fact, they didn't speak to anyone. They didn't speak to anyone but their lawyer. So in terms of their attorney, they gave their attorney a, what do you call that, deposit, on the 2nd, right? And the 2nd of September, I believe. Now, the attorney on a news station, he was doing an interview, and the interviewer asked him, so when did you start working with the Laundries? And he said that he started working with them or alongside them on the 11th of September. So you may ask yourself, well, what role does that play in this situation? And the fact of the matter is, like their attorney said, as well as other attorneys, it does not play a role. Even their attorney came out and said, listen, I told them not to say anything to you, as in the media, as well as talk about anything, period, as it's their right to do. And yes, they were in their right to do so. Now, the fact of the matter is, the way it comes off and it reads, the civil suit, is the fact that the Petito family finds it difficult to be at peace with the Laundrie family after the fact that their daughter was missing for so long. And essentially, they knew what had happened to her, is essentially what they're getting at. So there's a problem there, because in their mind, there's like, how can you do that? As a human being to another human being, how could you not have sympathy for us? How could you not, relay information to us? Because the thing about it is, the Petito family, once they didn't hear from Gabby, right, which was, out of the ordinary, they started to reach out to Brian. And in speaking to, getting a hold of Brian didn't, return their phone calls or text messages or anything like that. So they became increasingly concerned. They reached out to the Laundrie family, so Brian's parents, and they didn't get anything back from them. So all in all, it was kind of like a game that was being played, because it's like, I'm trying to find out information and I'm not getting anywhere. And my daughter is missing. So they filed a police report, the missing persons report, right? And, the ball starts rolling, and authorities try to get information from the Laundrie family, and they're not forthcoming. So it's more from a sense of hurt that this whole civil suit is, rather than a standpoint of law, if you get what I'm saying. Also, I just want to add in there that if anything were going to come off this whole situation, I am not a lawyer, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a member of council, I'm not any of that, but I am someone who did criminal justice. And the only thing that one could try their best to actually ascertain as a motive in which to have any case come about through this unfortunate ordeal would be if in criminal court, the state filed charges against the Laundries for obstruction of justice. Would that go anywhere? I really don't know. I think they have a basis for it, to a certain extent, because of the fact that the Laundries had information that they could have shared with the authorities, which may have sped up the investigation, which may have made things much more simpler. So money and time, as well as misinformation and lack of information or insufficient information would have been avoided had the Laundries came forward. But it's also their right not to do so to a certain degree. But once it comes on to an investigation in which the authorities come into play, then I think that your right to plead the fifth really and truly is reduced, to actually coming forth and bringing information. But I think if there was any play at all where a case would have come about on justifiable, grounds, it would have been these states actually filing against the Laundries and bringing charges of, obstruction of justice because they got in the way. It's not as if they lied, because we can't prove as in the outside, maybe the inside or the interior of the police departments and the authorities may be able to say they lied about something. But for us, there has not been any proof or evidence to say that they lied about something. So y'all have to keep that into consideration as well.